Hello, 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 hello. I greet you all. I greet you all in the name of God. Hello and welcome to the Revolutionary Spa. I am your host, Sophia Sebi. As always, I am here to help each to help us all to try and think of different ways to change our behaviors. And of course, you would forgive me if you cannot, I suppose, understand how I am translating this information or communicating this information in the English language. Forgive me because I feel that I can articulate the information that I'm about to share with you in the English language, not Luganda. I am sure as time goes on, we will have some conversations in Luganda. But for now, it is going to be in English, and I hope that you can try to learn a thing or two. We learn from each other. We learn by sharing. So I am here on the Revolutionary Spa, and it means self-purposeful action. And let me tell you, oh, by the way, actually, before I go into all of this, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. My apologies, we're a little bit late than planned, but technical issues. And of course, we're here to help to be able to provide information, free information, learning, improving ourselves. Hence, the reason for this show is self-purposeful action. It's all about you taking the responsibility to change your behavior. When you change your behavior, your mindset, it's about changing mindset, by the way, not just behavior, but we change because we think first before we speak, before we say, before we do anything. So you're on the Revolutionary Spa self-purposeful action, and we want to change the way we think, our perception in life helps us to change our environment. It is not an excuse anymore that someone else has not changed something for you. The whole point of this show is to help us see things differently, to see and have a different perception as to how our own behaviors have contributed to the current situation, how our current environment of the status quo, our community as a Ugandan people. It might be not necessarily just unique to the Ugandan people. It might be about the African diaspora, but we need to change our perspective. We need to change our mindset because it's no longer an excuse that we actually say that someone else is at fault for our lives. So whilst we change the status quo, whilst we have the federal governance of system sort of learning how really we want to be governed going ahead, going forward, from this day forward, or for the past couple of years, we've been learning, we really need to see things differently, not in a visual tunnel. We have been so visual tunneled in terms of we see only our perspective. We do not see everything going on around us. We only see, just like the train going in one direction. It does not go round and round in circles to go to the destination. It keeps going in a straight line. We need to think a little bit differently from how we see life. It's not a straight line, it is a circular. So welcome wherever you are. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. And I hope if you're watching this replay, by all means, I'm hoping you learn a thing or two. Your feedback is very welcome. And of course, your contribution in the comments. As I see comments, I see all of you that have just joined. Kato Tom, how are you? Yes. UTRO, how are you? Nantege Eva, how are you? Nakandi Twalibanji, how are you? Who else? Nakabugo Irene, how are you? Chrisland Ronald Kawemba, how are you? And all of you who are watching on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you are welcome. I hope that, uh, I hope that this show, the information I share, it just really does exactly what it's supposed to do. And for me, my utmost gift I would like for all of us is to just change the way we look at life, and then we transform our individual lives. When we transform our individual lives, we will be able to change the status quo. Do not let anybody fool you that when your mindset is still the same, you're still running around and thinking that the more hyper, the more sensationalism, you will reach the destination, your ultimate goal of peace, tranquility, and achieve your full potential is about being sensational and not having action in every day of your life. That is not going to happen. So take it from me. I have been there. I have lived. And I'm sure most of you have lived that life where it's sensationalism is unreal. You're following crowds, you're seeing things online or wherever you're seeing things. And these things are giving you a different perception. You're seeing the glitter and you think it is real. It is not real. It is it's someone else's interpretation of things, of the world for them. Hence the reason you see, maybe you're seeing boat cruises and you're thinking that's where I need to be. But it's not all glamour and glitter. It is simply a little snippet of the actual real life. So you might think, why is it got to do with anything? What is it got to do with change, or our change of governance, or change of our environment as a Ugandan people leadership? It has everything to do with it, because when whatever you do in life, whatever you say, what your perception, what you've come to believe is true, it shapes and forms your everyday life. That's be it in your personal life, family, your love life, your political views, your business, your character, in how what jobs do you go for? Do you see yourself only valuable for being, I don't know, a teacher? And yet you could probably a primary school teacher, and yet you could be maybe a professor. Do you see yourself only valuable as a community leader, but you can be a national leader? How do you perceive yourself? So hence the program today is Our Mind Sees by Faith. The faith that we have, how we believe in ourselves, our perception, our ideas, and how we have become to believe because someone has told us this is how we are, this is what we should be. We've come to believe it so. Most of the time we have seen, just like I was talking about, we do not, our mind sees by faith, not by sight. Every time as a people, I think we have believed so much into what we see. When we see flashy cars, someone, like I was saying, when we see people on boats, when we see, mansions, when we see, never think that their life is done. That is it. We have seen, we want to, to see things in our hands. When we go and look at, for instance, someone has like I was saying, a flashy car or dressed nicely, not because that just because they're dressed nicely doesn't mean that that's what they truly are in their mind. So we need to come away from just having faith by sight, but really internalizing our minds, our thoughts, and emotions so that we can truly see what life is really about. so that we can change our lives and our communities and our environment so we can reach our full potential. So, w- before that was just a little introduction, but just want to be, to say a little prayer, just to say that we thank God for the Almighty for bringing us here today, for for enabling us to have wisdom, to be able to share knowledge and information, to be able to be purposeful, intentional in in our everyday life, to be grateful to all those that contribute to our learning, all those that contribute to our lives, because we know that knowledge is power, but also knowledge is most importantly power in action. It is not about accumulating knowledge, writing reams of paper, but in ensuring that when we acquire this knowledge, we actually put it in action so that we can reach and realize our full potential. I know you will be, thinking, oh my goodness, we don't have any sort of new videos, or we don't have any sort of sensational information. But no, knowledge is not about sensationalism. It's not about me hyping you up. It's not about you feeling good right now. It's about you feeling good for as long as possible. So when you take this information that we have today, I hope that you will be able to put it in your day-to-day life with God's grace, that you will have abundance. You will feel abundantly blessed. You will not copy someone else's life. You will not be a copycat. You will understand from within that you are valuable. You are responsible to change the status quo. God, we thank you today and forever, and give us a good week. Thank you for the week before. We thank all those that have contributed to us. We thank the Almighty. We thank the elders. We thank our friends. We thank the people that come here today, every day, and share without ceasing. All my colleagues, the members of UNN, all those who are contributing to the status of revolutionizing our situation, the Ugandan situation, the Ugandan revolution, not just because we want the change of leadership, but we want the change of mindset for good, not doing the same thing as if we were crazy, as if we were mad, because that is madness, doing the same thing and expecting different results. So thank you for being on here, and we pray in Jesus' name, amen. But as we go, first of all, let's go into our national anthem. And then when we return, we can really go into a discussion of how our mind sees by faith and not by sight. Thank you. Welcome to you all on the Revolutionary Spark. I am your host, Sophia Sebi.
Oh, Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hand. United, free for liberty, together we'll always stand. Oh, Uganda, the land of freedom, our love and labor we give, and with neighbors all at our country's calling, peace and friendship.
Welcome back. Welcome back to that short break on our national anthem. I once again welcome you to the Revolutionary Spa. It's your host, Sophia Sebi. And Revolutionary Spa means revolutionary self, purposeful action. We need to be purposeful. We need to be intentional. Whatever you do, you need to know the reason. Why am I doing what I am doing? Is it serving me, my family, and future generation? or is it just simply copying what I have seen, and therefore it's not being authentic? Being authentic is about being yourself, really listening to the voice inside you. It's This show is all about mindset. It's not for everyone, not by any means. I don't know everything, not by any means, but from what I know, I am here to share because I know that it works. So before I go into the show, I just want to shout out to a few people that have just joined us. Nia Pepe, welcome. I appreciate you. My girl, Henry Masikini, Nansuga Florence, who else? Who else? Arsia Nabs, Dikusoka Juma, Esther Mukwano Guamkama, right? Musoke Alex, Princess Tyra, Kajubi Fred, Nantege Eva, who else? And I'm sure all my friends on YouTube. I'm not on YouTube, but maybe I ought, to go there and say hello to the people. But I appreciate you all. I know Carolyn Mara is always on YouTube, so we thank you very much. And please remember to share, follow, share with your friends, because it's important that we really get some information, some knowledge, quality, not quantity. Remember that. But food for thought. This show is about our mind seized by faith. I'm only going to be here for about 45 minutes. We've already been about 10 minutes into the show, but 45 minutes is going to be a quick one. And in those 45 minutes, I hope that we learn a thing or two. So food for thought is they have eyes but don't see. They have ears but don't hear. This is one of the Bible quotes, or African proverb, in fact, as well. And it is really about, let me translate it probably in Luganda. Bina maso na yete biraba. Bina matu na yete biwulira. So what did our elders or ancestors mean by this? In my view, they didn't really mean it like being a maso, like your physical eyes, but really about your mind eyes. Your mind has eyes because your mind translates what you see into your eyes before you can see exactly and translate it into your own perception. So whatever we see in terms of what's going on around us, be it in the leadership of, of Uganda, or be it in the leaders who are, how does Prince Chimbugwe call them? Is it horrible, not honorables, but horrible leaders? Be it in what they do, the flashy cars, or maybe they've had a visit to the Pope. You need to see with your unseen eyes. You have eyes in your mind, not eyes of the physique of your body, that helps you see what life is truly about. Imagine sometimes the reason why we have eyes but don't see, or we have ears and don't hear, because we don't hear with our mind, we don't hear with our eyes. We always try to see from the outside. We see with our external eyes, and this is where we have a lot of problem, because this is where we have actually come to this stage of the situation in Uganda, that we've been able to completely not see what has been happening for the past 35, 40 years, where we have become blind. Even if we have our eyes, we have become blind because we have not seen how our country has been taken over. We have been blind to what is going on around us because we have not used our internal eyes. God-given internal eyes. You can call it intuition if you would like. Sometimes I'm sure there's times that you see or you look in the mirror and see whoever is looking back at you, it's not truly who they should be. It is not truly who you're seeing, that you are rich, you're wealthy, you are amazing, you're intelligent. But when you look in the mirror all the time, you have looked in the mirror to see this person who's lacking self-confidence, in self-esteem, because someone has put in your mind the things that you see around you, that you have been exposed to, have helped you interpret the world the way you really truly see yourself. And some of these things come from the parenting we have received, the environment we have come to grow up in, that tells us because you may be darker skin, you're not beautiful enough. Because you are not light enough. We look at the leaders that think that by bleaching, it is going to make them reach further from where they are. And I am here to tell you that we need to look into ourselves a little bit deeper to enable us to see what is truly, truly, truly going on around us. So this show aims to, all the time I'm reminding you, it is not about sensationalism. It is a deeper meaning to life. It is about psychological thoughts or philosophical thought to help us understand our lives, how we have become to perceive ourselves, how we have become to have low self-esteem, how we have become to think of ourselves less than. You know how we have become to think of ourselves less than? Because we have not thought that we are good enough to have the best education system. We have not come to think of ourselves that we deserve better health care or we deserve better roads. Hence the reason we are in the situation or circumstances that we're in, because we have been exposed, or we have been told wrongfully that we do not deserve. So leaders have not been able to put in place, despite taking your taxes, they have not thought of putting in place services that are fit for us as human beings. They're only fit for animals. What does that say about us? It is not about just the leaders. It is about us allowing the leaders to treat us this way. Therefore, we have not seen with our inner eyes. We have always seen with our outer eyes. So as a Ugandan people, diaspora home, we change our behaviors by thinking differently. This show is about us, helping us to think differently, see perspectives a little bit, not in a box, but outside of the box. So you might be there, maybe on your security job, thinking that is all you're good for. But if you took the time to cultivate your mind, if you took the time to invest in yourself first, not by spending money, no, that's not what I'm talking about. It's about going into yourself. And sometimes, what does that help us? How can we do that? We can do that through prayer, through associating ourselves with the best of the best people. It is not about exposing yourself to sensationalism or sensational messages, or to exposing yourselves with people that put you down constantly, that tell you that things are bad all the time. Things are not always bad all the time. But because we expose ourselves to those things that are bad all the time, we truly become to believe that that is it. Remember, we are on autopilot most of the time. Psychology tells us we do things in our everyday life on autopilot. That means automatically we don't really think, we're not intentional, we're not purposeful all the time, 95% of the time. So it means you only have 5% where you are intentionally doing something in your life. And that means if you have the perception of having substandard information, a perception that is not you, what does that leave you? It leaves you with the thought and mind that tells you you are less than, you're not good enough, you're not confident. You think that things happen to people, different people, in terms of wealth. The wealth is in your mind, it is not outside of yourself, because people thought about the things that have become to be created, and therefore have created those things. It all began with thought. So what lessons have you recently had that have contributed or have not contributed to the revolutionary you? Who are you going to show up as? Are you going to accept the status quo? As we move on, we talk about the Great Reset. Have you heard about the Great Reset? Do you know that the revolution is not just a Ugandan revolution, but a worldwide? Are you visual tunneled that you're only thinking that actually the revolution is only a Ugandan revolution? How are you prepared with the current rising cost of living? Have you remember, money, paper money is not necessarily the value. We need to be creators. We need to create from where you are. What is it about your current job, what you do currently, that you can feed your family, feed yourself, and become a creator in exactly what you have? How are you prepared with the current rising cost of living? Are you living beyond your means? Are you creating, producing instead of consuming? How are you improving your gifts, or from what you have and where you are? Like I said, are you looking at life with a tunnel vision? Are you seeing only that which you have been told? Who are you associating with? Who are you following? Are you being the best at what you currently have, and not thinking the grass is greener on the other side? Are you copying someone else's idea of living your best life? Like I say, the revolution is not just happening in Uganda, it is all around us. And remember, when you think back at what has happened for the past 3 years or 2 years, when we look at the start of COVID, what happened? How did life change for you? What did you do? Did you wallow in the lockdown? Or did you think that actually this is an opportunity for me to rebrand and reinvent myself? Every time you wake up painfully in the early hours of the morning with somebody telling you what to do, and if you're not doing what they're saying you should do, you will not get paid. You're on someone else's clock, you're not on your clock. How have you made yourselves really, like, mentalize, emotionalize that experience, that feeling of I need one more hour, but because you're on someone else's clock, you have painfully got out of that bed? And you're like, I wish I was back home on motherland. I wish I was free. I had the freedom to manage my time, to control my time, to control when, how, and where I'm going to be. I'm not going to let the money, the physical money, lead my life. I am going to make sure that this doesn't happen to me again. I am not going to be locked away. I can't take a phone call. I can't check in with my daughter. I can't check in with family members because I am on someone else's time. This is what we talk about, the revolution. It's not just about politics. It's not about just coming here. We talk about politics all the time. We need to change our mindsets. Because when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at will change. We will no longer be hopeless, be feeling like we are desperate, that your life depends, someone else's, your life is dependent on someone else's view of the world. You will feel in control of your life despite having money now, the physical money, properties. Now, despite, if you change your mindset, you'll be able to see clearly, because that's where, when we have faith in ourselves and we have the strategies in place, like the knowledge, then we can truly put into action the knowledge that we have acquired. And hence the reason why I am here, why the Revolutionary Spa, why we have Jacob Chu, why we have all the other programs on UNN. I really hope that you really understand and what I am trying to say, because I know that when you're Muchiumba or you're somewhere at a job that you don't like, you will feel desperate. You feel like you have no way out, that you feel very emotionally distressed. You feel depressed. You feel low. You feel like taking maybe your life. You feel like life is not worth living, but life is worth living, because we need to see with our minds, not by sight. What you see is only a little bit of someone else's type of dream, someone else's idea of life. But what is it that you truly, 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 truly want to see changing in your life? Remember, material things come and go. We have seen this week that someone thought that they are invisible, they are immortal. But hey, that was not the case. I'm not going to mention names. You know exactly what has been going on in our community. People are not immortal. So imagine you're living life depressed, closed up somewhere, because you feel that you need to accumulate money. Money is not exactly what you need. You need to change the mindset. The mindset is the one that needs to change, because it gives us the power, the energy. Wake up every day, be grateful, be prayerful. Remember, what you give into life is what you get back. It's exactly in exact proportion. And I just want us to remind ourselves that about the revolution not being just the Ugandan one, being a revolution which has been all around the world. Someone else is planning for us. If you don't plan for yourself, you don't. And remember, when I talk about plan, I don't mean tangible things. I mean intangible. And that starts with our thoughts. Thoughts are very important. What gets you up every day in the morning to say, I am going to try again? I'm going to try again at this. I know I failed yesterday, but I am trying again at this thing called life. How can I look at life differently from how I've been looking at it yesterday? What things I have learned on UNN or somewhere else that are helping me to turn my life around by the way I see things. I look at life. The way you look at life changes the way you look at things, or your perception needs to change from within, not from outside, not from what somebody else is telling you and you copy and paste. It's really about really revolutionizing our mindset. So when quick break, reminder, because every time I look at this video, I just feel like, no, we need to really be a bit more than what we are now, what we're doing now. And that is mainly around our mindset. It's not about the things, the buildings, the clothes, the cars, it is not. So let's come back in a quick break after this video.
Policy of the American government. It has not changed. May not be implemented by Trump, but it remains the same. That the purpose of the foreign policy in Africa was to reduce the population. So to give aid to countries in Africa, not clean water and schooling and things like that, but contraception and abortion, in order to shrink the population of Africa, because they have great mineral resources there.
That sounds diabolical.
It is, yes.
That sounds like something conceived in the mind of Margaret Sanger.
Yeah, definitely. And so at the time, Kissinger and those involved with the Carter administration wanted to shrink the population, make sure that the Africans do not develop and do not use the resources for themselves, because we in the States, we need them. There is a concerted effort of foreign powers to control the population of Africa. Africa is a huge continent, could feed thousands more people, but the policies of the West, especially in Europe. For example, between 1990 and the year 2000, the United States, Canada, and Europe contributed about $6 billion in contraceptives, not to help the people, not to give clean water, clean food. That is
not to fight malaria, for example.
No, of course, perish the thought, never. Yeah. Let them die. That's the whole idea. So in our work in HLI, we denounced this reality to make the Africans aware that they have to defend themselves against the influence of foreign powers.
Is it just the United States, or do you believe that China is also playing a role in jockeying for the resources of Africa?
China is playing a major role because China is buying property in Africa. For example, in Mozambique, which is a Portuguese-speaking language country, when Portugal was in charge of Mozambique, they used to export rice. Now they are importing rice from China because they cannot produce. The socialism has wrecked the production of rice. And the Chinese come and buy farms. So about almost a third of Mozambique belongs to China. So I was in other countries of Africa, it's the same reality. In South Africa, the Chinese are buying property, buying land in Africa. And they send their own workers, the Chinese workers. They don't employ people of the place. They send their own workers to populate and to live in the place.
Did you like or hate what you heard? Let us know in the comments below.
Why do we need the federal system of governance in Uganda? And what is federalism? Federal is a system of governance. It's not about getting rid of the central government. It's not about party politics. It's not about multi-partisan or absence of it. It's not about religious differences. It's not about tribalism. It is not for the benefit of Buganda alone. It's not about monarchism. It's not about land or dispossessing people from land. It is not about supremacy of one region over another or others. It's about helping the central government to provide services more efficiently and provide more effective development to the people. It's about sharing power and responsibilities between the central government and regional governments. Federalism is about providing more prosperity, more wealth, more feeling of belonging and participation in governance by marginalized and non-marginalized people. The federal system of government minimizes possibilities of waging war against the central government. It minimizes internal acts of terrorism and discontent against the central government. It has inbuilt safeguards that ensure uniform growth for all regions of the country, and additional measures to make sure that the marginalized or less developed regions of the country can catch up through the system of equalization grants and affirmative action programs. This ensures that the regions with greater income and development contribute a percentage of their earnings to the developed areas which may be less developed. It should be noted that federalism, though different from decentralization, does not contradict or exclude decentralization. The two systems can and should coexist and complement each other at the regional level. Advocating federal does not mean or seek to get rid of decentralization from regional tier, nor does it mean getting rid of district MPs, LC leaders, or other regional government officials. To learn more about federalism, register and join UFCC at www.ufcc.uk.
Welcome back. Welcome back. As we go through our presentation, we probably have about another 15-20 minutes and then we will end the show. But I just want every week when you see me here, I am not about politics. Just remember that you're not going to get from me the sensational messages, the politics. I'm about humanity. I'm about mindset. I want every single one of us to be feeling worth it, to be valuable, to be members of the community, not because someone else thinks that we are good enough, because we feel we are good enough. We believe, we have faith, we see with our minds, not by sight. If any of you know me at all in my personal life, I am not all about names of having maybe Gucci or whatever. I can afford it, yes, but that is not what life is about. It is not about popularism. I can be popular if I wanted to, but I choose. I am intentional about what I choose. So I call upon you, my brothers and sisters, every single day. Read something that makes sure that changes your perspective about you, how you feel and see yourself. Because if you don't, you will truly, truly be swayed and persuaded, pulled and pushed about everywhere and anywhere, and you will become nowhere. You'll be nowhere. You become nothing. If you're waiting for somebody else to tell you that you are good enough, you should be like this, you should be like that, you're not your unique self, your authentic self, you don't have your values, your principles that you live your life by, you will certainly be pulled and pushed and whatever. So a great man like our Martin Luther King says, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. Your network is your net worth. Jim Rohn says your network is your net worth. But when we dissect in terms of what Martin Luther King says, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. There are man-made laws that you truly see that you should not be following. They are laws that you think that, why are they pulling and pushing me in all different directions? Why is everybody thinking that I must obey this person? I must respect this person because of their title. When truly you don't even know the reason why you're following that person in the first place. Just because the masses are following, It's better to be right and stand on one island than being wrong in a mass of people. Just like we saw Hitler wasn't right, but he had a big following, didn't he? So reevaluate how you look at things, how you look at life, who you're following. Your network is your net worth. Who are you associating yourself with? What sort of things are you listening to? Who are your friends? Who do you follow? Go and unfollow anybody that you think is not adding value to you. Unfollow them. You are not compelled to follow. You will not be more wealthier. You will not act differently. Your circumstances in back home will not change because you're following someone who has 3K or has more following than someone else you've started to follow. It does not work that way. What value, when we think of value, what value are the people we're following blindly adding to our lives? Have we become more knowledgeable and we have put in action the things that we want to see changing in our lives? We don't have to work harder. We need to work smarter. And I'm so sorry, Musoke, Alex. I am speaking in English and you don't like it. Like I said, I keep saying that every time I start. I do say that I will speak in English. So please ask somebody who's next to you or friend, what is it that I was saying if you don't understand it? There's so many other programs which are in Luganda on this channel that are pretty much saying around just about the same things. So I am sorry that I cannot cater to your needs right now. And sometimes this is exactly what really makes us all the time, because we are trying to adjust our lives every single time on someone else's perception. We are always following the status quo. We are always following these cultural things that are not necessarily serving us. By all means, I'm not saying that language, speaking in our natural language, because if I didn't speak in Luganda and someone else came and was a Choli, would say, why are you not talking in a Choli? I am just saying, sometimes we need to really think of the way we think that we are entitled. What have you put into life that you think you deserve what you're getting out of life? If you haven't put much into life, you don't pay maybe charity. I'm not saying that go to a church or mosque and keep paying all your money, your hard-earned cash. No, I am simply saying it's simply common sense. Do you look after thy neighbor? Do you help maybe that child who doesn't have shoes and you have 20 pairs of shoes? Do you maybe have a wardrobe full of clothes and they're falling out? Or do you have a home? You've accumulated things. Let us look with our mind, and then we have faith through our mind, not by sight, not because we see, we believe. We need to believe by faith. We know that the Bible, the Quran, all of them tell us differently. Even the religion of our ancestors, they tell us to see by faith, not by sight. So when Paul tells us we walk by faith, not by sight, in Corinthians 2, chapter 5, verse 7, he is not telling us how we should walk. If you have a chance and read this verse, do by all means this. It can be Googleable. You can Google and read chapter 2, Corinthians 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. He is not telling us how we should walk. He is telling us how we walk every day in your life. Does your faith depend on seeing? Who do you need to see doing the thing that they're doing first before you do it? Why can't you listen in your intuition? This is like telling a boy that we don't walk with our hands, we walk with our feet. But naturally, children automatically think we're walking. I'm walking because they were crawling before, but then they have faith, they start to stand up. Not because we told them necessarily, but they see with their mind that this is the natural law of development, human development. And also, when I say we see by faith, we need to be able to see that whatever problem, for instance, like you have seen, where we're talking about the federal system of governance, we need to truly, truly, truly believe that this is going to be working. We believe that this is going to be working. Therefore, we need to walk by faith that it's working. Whatever we do, we're not swayed and pulled by everybody else, by the glitter and glamour that we see around us, that we see other people taking on. So therefore, we must also, this must be wrong. No, just because you're few, it does not mean it is wrong. So we need to speak to our problem. We speak to it and not about it. We can't be talking about the problem all the time. We need to speak with authority that we will come to, this problem will come to pass, whatever the problem is. The more we speak about a problem, the bigger it becomes, and the more power we give it. And it will take over our lives. We must believe that God is bigger than any problem. Imagine, I'm sure you have seen that sometimes a blind man can see or hear more, or someone who's hard of hearing, they can hear more clearly, or they can, whoever is blind can see more clearly than we can. Because that is intuition, that is inside. Their mind is the seeing. It's not what is reflected on our physical eyes that it truly sees. And that's why when you see the way you perceive things, you see things and you follow the masses, because you think by following the masses you will gain more, because your perception, your thoughts, your mind has told you. So we need to start to emotionalize our circumstances. We will start to personalize the issues of national concern. So who do you see? How do you see? We lead by example. When you look at how exactly, the news of the past couple of weeks about these nonsensical, horrible leaders, the way they go on about how they want you to look at things, how they want you to see. That is their own interpretation of life, but that doesn't mean that truly that's how life should be or life is. So we lead by example. One thing that stood up for me in this case of the of our airport, of the national airport, one thing that stood out is that this person truly believes that they are capable of leading, of being in this job, even if they have no qualifications whatsoever. So maybe, just maybe, we need to truly believe that we can do anything and everything is possible, not because of the papers that we have, but because we truly believe by faith. Because the world has made us to believe you need to tick the box of having a paper, having a PhD, having a degree, that's how you can achieve fully what you want to achieve in your life. But that is not the case. If everybody was able to achieve all they could with papers, I'm sure we'll have a lot of teachers with PhD degrees in higher places. So I'm going to twist this story a little bit, because we're saying they don't qualify, but maybe they have their faith, seeing through faith and not seeing by sight. They're not seeing that their papers are what should, help them get to wherever they need to get to. Have a CEO job for such a big organization. Maybe perhaps we need to take a bit of example from the people we so-called our enemies. Maybe not everything, I'm simply saying, because they probably believe, no matter how wrong you see the situation, they truly, truly, truly believe that they can do it. So after all said and done, we still don't get it. There is a code, there's a way that there's a natural law, the faith law, the unwritten rule in all cultures, situations, environment. Being a person in a position of power, we must conduct ourselves in a way that empowers those that we influence or we intend to influence. This way is to be motivational, sell something, an idea, a product, or a service to get the results we want or you want. The message that you give should be genuine, honest, and transparent to enable a trusting relationship, not because of the papers that you have, not the degrees. This is nature's way of really fulfilling our full potential. Imagine sometimes most of the time we don't really buy into a service or product because it looks really lovely, glamour, and we can't live without it, or it's the best out there. But most of the time, if you look at your life, you buy into someone's character, someone's value, what they add, the value they add to you, how you take a liking to them by their character, by their integrity, not because of the product. The product might not necessarily be the best out there. So we buy into character, personality, the person's way of life, their integrity, honesty. Anyway, I really hope that you have learned one thing or two. I know that it's probably been a short one, but regardless of it's not about being, the quantity, it's about the quality. So my concluding remarks today is take authority, truly, truly take authority. If we don't care about our own, no one else will. This is sort of, this particular picture that you see here came out of the situation where we have someone paying 84 billion, is it 84 million or 87 million salary to someone that is making a loss than actually investing in the people that we perceive to be protecting us. How are they going to protect us? How are the people in the public service going to protect us when you're paying more those that truly do not really deserve the amount of money? Like our teachers, like those domestic workers that look after our children, the healthcare professionals. So if you're one of those that contribute to this sort of unrealistic investing in something else, someone else, and not investing in your own, an investment is about time as well, intangible, not just about money. Just remember that. So are you investing in yourself wisely? The amount of times that you spend maybe investing in someone else's sort of ideas, like being on social media for 8 hours a day, What could you use that time doing? Investing in yourself, taking care of your own. And when we talk about control, fear of control, we're in survival or in control. You're talking about how is fear controlling your life? Are you in survival mode? Are you feeling guilty? Are you insecure? Are you jealous? Are you disappointed? Do you have anger, impatience, unworthiness? You feel unworthy, sort of the things I was talking about. Self-image, our self-confidence, what do we think we are worthy? The shame because you're doing a job, maybe cleaning the streets, being a security guard. But when you know the vision, your vision is clear as to where you want to be next. Being a maid or a house manager or a security guard or cleaning the toilets, it should not really matter at all. What should be mattering is your vision, where you want to be. How do you see where you want to be? What plan have you written down? What does the new or revolutionized Uganda look like for you? So the steps you're taking, it doesn't matter who thinks what, their opinion don't count. Your opinion, your mindset is what is important. So when you're in control, just remember you're looking at things that are empowering you. You are grateful, you pay gratitude in your life every day. You are joyful when you're engaging in the things that we engage in, such as this, or the communities when you're offline. You're compassionate, you're peaceful, you do things that give you peace, not things that are going to completely disorganize your way of life. But if you're disorganized in your way of life, let it be something of value, that you are disorganizing your old way of life. It is okay, by the way, to disorganize your previous thinking so that you can have a balance and a new way of thinking, to be revolutionary, to be awake. You will gain your confidence, you will have excitement, you'll be optimistic rather than pessimistic. You will be celebrating others and yourselves. So this is the revolution. This is how you take authority in your perception. This is the revolutionary change. This is truly being revolutionary for a radical transformation. We cannot go on about the same status quo as usual, follow the same people, think we're getting different results, follow the same mindset. We want things of, we joke around. We want things that are, exciting us for that moment, but then not really truly getting something practical out of it to improve your next level, to be at a different level of your spiritual body, mind, and soul, your inner being, your mindset. As always, thank you for watching The Revolutionary Spark. I am Sophia Sebi. Some of you might have seen me as the African parent around. Check out my page, Sophia Sebi, the African Parent Buddy, to like, comment, share for weekly inspirational, motivational, and empowering reflections. I appreciate you all for being on here. Thank you for your comments and liking, sharing the Revolutionary Spur and UNN. I hope this is my way of appreciating you for the same. We grow by lifting each other. Remember that. And by the way, just so you are aware, switching on the light of our minds, can we only truly be able to see by faith, not by sight. Next coming up will be this and that, right? Just remember to tune in. Remember who you follow. We grow by lifting each other. No man is an island. Remember, if we don't look after our own self, mind, body, and spirit, someone else will. Once in a better mindset, then family, neighbor, community, society, and our nation, humanity, will truly change. What can be helpful? Invest in prayer, meditation. It doesn't matter if you're religious or not. Take silence, self-care. I know some people say self-care is not really, no, self-care is really about you taking the time, a specific time each day. Is it every morning? Is it in the afternoon? Is it in the evening, to have some silence? Not always having, sort of a lot of chaos, a lot of noise, because it doesn't help us to gather our thoughts, reflect on the things of yesterday, reflect on how you're going to improve tomorrow, to improve today, tomorrow. We need to be grateful for our own lives, no matter what the day or challenges are in the day, and grateful for others, giving, not expecting anything in return. What do you do to give? Are you giving into yourself? Learning, attending a course, research, reading every day, maybe a book, an article, or listening to an audio activity, giving to others, letting go of valuing. Sometimes in our communities, in our Ugandan community, we always give expecting something back sometimes. And you think people are indebted to you forever because you gave something. That is not the way. Because if we have that mindset, every single time we are pulling with that law of attraction, it means that we are bringing to ourselves the energy, the bad energy, because we're always expecting something. And when people disappoint us, we're always condemning. And you cannot be living by condemning others. The battle starts within the mindset, then thought, then emotion, then action. So let us start to take seriously what we've learned for the past maybe 2 years or more. Ban the thoughts that you have held, which have held you hostage and kept you in bondage. Ban the thoughts, the eyes that have limited you to seeing beyond the ordinary into the extraordinary. Ban the behavior that has limited you, your capability, into your ability. Ban the limiting thinking and say no more to enslavement and enslaved mindset. Ban the mindset that has made you so hungry you fail to see the diamonds under your feet and run to false glitter or foreign lands that limited your thinking. We need to die to self, so to speak, to be reborn, reinvent, revolutionize. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share our page and program with your friends, family. They will thank you, they will thank you later. They will thank you later. So thank you for being on here. Good evening. Have a good weekend. Have a good week. May God bless you. Love and blessings. As always, I am here, Sophia Sebi, bringing you the revolutionary spark, self-purposeful action. Our mind sees by faith, not by sight. Good evening. God bless you. See you next time.